Almost 3 years ago, I was holding a gun to my head, ready to blow my brains out, while my entire family watched in horror. It was my 53rd birthday party, and the ringing in my ears was so excruciatingly loud that when my wife and children began to sing "Happy Birthday," I completely lost it. I went straight to the bottom left dresser of my drawer, pulled out my secret Glock 29 and counted 3, 2, 1. But when I took one last look into my son's tearful eyes, my hands started trembling so bad that I dropped the gun. The bullet passed dangerously close to my wife's cheek and went through the ceiling. Of course, I never meant to scare my family like that, and I'll never forgive myself for having put them through this nightmarish scene. But it was that precise moment that sent me on a completely unexpected 2-year-long journey through the dark underbelly of the multi-billion-dollar medicine industry controlled by government and elite societies. And eventually led me to the discovery of a completely natural and inexpensive method that makes it possible for you to clear your hearing again. Hi, my name is Gregory Peters, and the incredible story you're about to hear is 100% true. In the following 5 minutes, I'll show you where this hellish sound really comes from and why tinnitus has absolutely nothing to do with your ears, but with something deeply disturbing and life-threatening that's happening inside your brain at this very moment. And once you'll find out what it is, not only will you have the power to fight all the ringing, roaring, and whooshing in your ears, but also fight this thing that's taking over your brain, which is an early indicator of disorders like memory loss, amnesia, or other dangerous brain diseases. Because this treatment is so incredibly powerful that it has been clinically proven to work regardless of your age, medical condition, or the severity of your tinnitus, and without you having to spend a single red cent on hearing aids, dangerous chemical-filled medications, painful ear flushing, risky surgeries, or useless sound therapies. In fact, this method is simple and is so amazing. Not only did it send shockwaves across the medical establishment, but brain doctors see it as a miraculous key that can unlock brain rejuvenation and significantly decrease your risk of brain disorders like memory loss. Yes, I know how incredible this sounds, especially if you've been suffering from tinnitus, thinking there's no escape whatsoever. But even if every single doctor you've seen has crushed your hopes by saying you're bound to live with this sickening sound for the rest of your life, it's crucial that you stick with me until the very end of this story, because in a few moments, you'll soon be able to shut off that creaking sound that's been ruining your life and feel completely normal again. Your days will be quiet and peaceful. No more headaches, dizziness, or nausea. No more constantly feeling angry and depressed. Forget the dreadful sleepless nights when you were tossing and turning, praying for just a second of silence. You'll no longer have to struggle at work, trying to figure out what your colleagues are saying and asking what all the time. Or pretending you're focused and serene when that piercing buzz is following you everywhere. Moreover, you'll regain your social life, finally being able to relax and go out with your friends and family, even in the noisiest places, just like 47,000 other people did. People like Anna G. in Philadelphia. She says, "It stopped. It stopped. Oh, wow, it stopped. I kept repeating these words in my mind over and over again and still can't believe it. After 7 horrible years, everything is normal again. I've got a life again. My chest is going to explode from all the joy. Thank you. Thank you." Thomas Key, 57, from Tennessee, says, "Honestly, Greg, at first I felt sorry for you, thinking you've gone truly insane from all the ringing. I mean, cuckoo from tinnitus. It happens to the best of us. But then I couldn't help wonder, what if? What if this is the one method that works? What if I've tried all these wacky therapies and I say no exactly to the good one? Once I was so desperate that I stuffed onions in my ears. Well, it's been 3 months now and not a peep from tinnitus. I feel reborn. To think I was about to pass my opportunity to end the misery sends shivers down my spine. Billy Brighton, 60, from Rhode Island, says, "You never realize how important silence is until you lose it. My left ear whooshing was unbearable. Sometimes I fear that I would hear it even dead. I'm a 6-foot-tall man, but I swear to you, I cried the evening my whooshing stopped." Now, if you suffered from tinnitus for any length of time, I'm sure you're curious to find out all about this groundbreaking, inexpensive method and take control of what you hear and when. So, let's not waste any more time. I want you to know who I am, why my unusual discovery turned the medical world upside down while saving thousands of lives, why pharmaceutical giants and drug manufacturers are willing to spill blood in order to keep tinnitus sufferers away from it, how the members from the IQ Society, Mensa, along with government officials, are secretly getting rid of their tinnitus and supercharging their brains, and how exactly it would help you finally achieve the peace of mind you deserve in less than 3 weeks from today. So, as you know, my name is Gregory Peters. I'm 56 years old and live in a small town near Stanford, California. I've been a medical librarian at one of the biggest U.S. universities for over 30 years now. We, medical librarians, pretty much do what a typical librarian does, with one important exception. We work with health-related materials. That's why I often get to meet and assist hundreds of brilliant doctors, students, and alternative medicine experts in their research. Not only that, but I've witnessed a few medical breakthroughs and seen life-changing treatments take birth. Now, of course, none of them compares to the tinnitus remedy I'm about to reveal to you. It all began about 10 years ago, on a Saturday, while I was drinking my morning coffee in the kitchen. This paralyzing noise came out of nowhere. At first, I assumed it was a fridge that had broken or something, as it was pretty old. But it wasn't a fridge, nor anything else around me in the house. And even though I prayed to God, the noise wasn't coming from outside either. It was like the sound of a train braking on the rails, a sound of metal or iron, and it was glued to my ears, no matter where I went. After 3 days, I was starting to get creeped out. I couldn't sleep well, I couldn't focus, not to mention the horrified looks I got from my wife and children when I asked, "Can't you hear that?" I've heard and read about tinnitus before, but I refused to believe it was serious, thinking it was just a temporary ear infection. But after 4 weeks of living with that horrifying ringing in my head, I finally decided to go to the doctor, ready to do whatever it took to get rid of it. That's when my hell began. Since I was working at one of the biggest U.S. medical universities, I managed to pull some strings and get an appointment with a top-notch ear specialist. He saw me right away, checked my ears, did a lot of hearing tests, including an audiogram. And as the highly recommended doctor reviewed the results, he said he still didn't know what was wrong with me. One thing was sure, though. Nothing at all was physically wrong with my ears. Well, Mr. Peters, can't say I'm surprised. A lot of people come in here complaining about ear ringing, but the truth is chronic tinnitus does not usually come from the ears. Wait, what was he saying? Was he crazy? Or was he suggesting that I'm the crazy one? Well, what he revealed next left me in complete shock. And please, listen carefully to what I'm about to say next, because it's a matter of life and death. First, what you need to understand is that, as a doctor explained it to me, tinnitus is not an ear disease, a bacterial infection, or a virus, but a symptom of a hidden condition. Now, I have 2 simple questions that will help you find out what's really behind your tinnitus. The first question is only for those few who have tinnitus for less than 7 days and flu-like symptoms. Do you have tinnitus for less than 7 days? And are also experiencing high fever and headaches? If your tinnitus is that reason and you're also feeling sick, go to the doctor immediately. I'm serious. You might be dealing with meningitis, which, and there's no delicate way to put it, is a lethal condition unless treated urgently. Now, my next question is for those with long-term tinnitus, just like me. Do you have tinnitus for more than 7 days? If yes, it's crucial you know what happened to me so you don't make the same painful mistakes and get directly to the incredible method I've discovered. Because you're dealing with chronic tinnitus, and even though doctors know it's a symptom, they have no clue what exactly causes it. That's why they'll have you undergo a lot of useless and expensive analysis, just like the top-notch doctor did with me. I underwent blood tests, peed in a jar, had my neck checked, my jaw, my pulse, and pretty much had all my internal organs scanned. It felt like looking for a needle in a haystack. I was a lab rat, waiting in every hallway of the hospital, hoping they would find what's wrong with me so I could finally go home. But they found nothing physically wrong with me, or so they believed. Because inside my brain, at that very moment, something was dead wrong. Back then, the doctor just shrugged his shoulders and prescribes me some anti-stress pills, claiming I should be grateful my lab tests are good, considering my age. It was clear he expected me to stop asking questions that he was incapable of answering. I was dumbfounded and incredibly frustrated. How could one of the best doctors leave me like this? Especially after telling me my ringing was hiding something worse. And if I was so healthy, where in the world did my tinnitus come from? I started reading everything I could find on forums and discovered many folks believing tinnitus is caused by exposure to loud noises, but that wasn't my case, as I worked in a library, one of the quietest places on earth. I was completely puzzled. The ringing and whooshing in my head just became something I learned to live with. I just thought the older you get, the worse your health becomes, right? But years passed by, and by the time I reached 50 years, the ringing in my ears went from pretty annoying to powerful drill annoying. Sometimes I even heard 3 different sounds, all at the same time. There was a low buzzing sound and the sensation of blood pumping through my veins too. Plus, my nerves were so burned out that I once yelled at my wife for opening a plastic bag of rice near me. And not only was that loud enough noise to put me to the ground, but there was something else happening, both bizarre and frightening. It was like my mind was deteriorating. My memory began to slip. I found myself in the middle of a room without knowing what I'm doing there. I wasn't able to focus or carry a conversation for more than 5 minutes. Trying to read was a chore because I just couldn't understand very long sentences anymore. And once, I forgot the way to the local supermarket. You can imagine I was scared like a child. Seeing everything I was going through, my wife, Clara, begged me to see a doctor again. She firmly believed that medicine had evolved since my last doctor's visit and that there were new ways to stop the debilitating roaring inside my head. So, the money we had put aside to visit Europe after retiring, we spent it all on visiting more doctors, therapists, alternative medicine experts, and even psychiatrists. I was so desperate I tried everything. And before telling you the one method that worked, I can tell you about the ones that absolutely did not work for me. Hearing aids to mask the sounds inside your head, they're expensive and annoying to wear in your ears. Antidepressant medication and sleep drugs to calm the anxiety kicked at my tinnitus, which didn't get to the root of the problem, just zones you out. Herbal medicines, acupuncture, meditation, fine for overall calming effect, but they cost a lot of money and don't promise anything near a cure. And sound therapies, which may distract you for a little bit, but don't stand a chance in bringing you the much desired relief. The fact that nothing and no one could help me filled me with anguish. And I've been tormented by tinnitus for over 7 years, and I knew I wouldn't be able to endure it for much longer. My life was so limited. I was so exhausted, barely wanting to leave my bed, having to drag myself to work. My colleagues and friends didn't understand me, as they couldn't physically see what I was battling every single second. I had become a shadow of myself and felt like a burden to my family, as everyone had to keep quiet around the house and tiptoe around me. And even though I tried to think of my 2 boys, John and Nathaniel, my lovely wife Clara, and my grandchildren, I felt so miserable that I didn't want to live anymore. Not even for my children. Looking back now, it was an inhuman choice that probably made me seem like a monster. But instead, I started planning my suicide. I began looking up lethal powders from China on the internet and asking lawyers if I could have assisted death in my country. It's embarrassing, I know, but you've never seen your craziest side until you've got a 24/7 buzzing in your head. Then I got my hands on the Glock 29, and not only terrified my entire family, but almost killed my wife, as a bullet went 1 inch from her cheek. And after all that, I was furious. Furious at the doctors who shamelessly take your money and then abandon you when things get rough, not caring whether you get well or not. Furious at the US government for spending millions on publicly letting us know that we might burn our fingers by using fireworks on the 4th of July, but not spending a dime on supporting people with tinnitus, even though 1 in 10 Americans suffer from ear ringing. But mostly, furious at myself for not taking the matter into my own hands. I mean, how could I be so blind? I was working at a world-renowned medical university. I had an army of superbrains around me, medical researchers, genius professors, brilliant specialists, and thousands of rare medical materials. There had to be a real alternative out there, and I was going to find it or use my Glock 29 on myself for real. So, the next day, I searched through every corner of the library. As you can imagine, the search was exhausting, and I can't tell you how many times I almost gave up. Well, there must be a higher power out there, because barely a week later, I finally found the one thing that changed everything. That would end up giving me and over 47,000 other people just like me their peace of mind and life back. I'd searched the internet, read piles of books, and made a ton of inquiries with medical experts, professors, doctors, and even students. When I discovered 2 little-known studies that had me doing mental backflips. The first study came from the scientists at the University of Konstanz in Germany. Now, you may not have heard of them, but these geniuses have been making some of the most detailed studies on tinnitus ever. And have clearly showed, using increasingly sophisticated brain scans, that tinnitus is a lot more than just a ringing in the ears. In fact, chronic tinnitus has absolutely nothing to do with your ears. It actually goes much deeper, inside the brain. Specifically, rather than being ringing inside your ears, it's a ringing across your brain. Now, as you can imagine, I was extremely intrigued, especially since it explained why most people have perfectly healthy ears, yet their buzzing is worsening each day. So I kept looking and found a couple of studies that were suggesting tinnitus comes from the part of the brain that processes sounds, called, in medical terms, the auditory cortex. What they believed was that if the auditory cortex is damaged, then your brain can't process the sounds you hear correctly, mixes the signals up, and produces a buzzing noise, just like a broken tape. Now, even though this sounded like a plausible explanation, a question crossed my mind. Why do deaf people still get tinnitus? Since they can't hear, there's no sound to process to begin with. That's when I came across a bizarre experiment from the late 1950s. The researchers suggest if you have debilitating tinnitus, let's cut the auditory nerve and then you will be deaf. You won't hear a thing, but you won't have tinnitus. A few patients went along with it and got their auditory nerves surgically cut, therefore becoming completely deaf. But unfortunately, their tinnitus got even louder, So that's when the medical researchers realized that tinnitus isn't in the ear or in the part of the brain that processes sounds. But where was it coming from? I was so confused, not to mention drained of energy. Little did I know that my misery was soon to be about over for me and for other thousands of sufferers, because the very next day I discovered what exactly happens inside your brain when you have tinnitus. It was this eye-opening study from the University of Iowa in the US, and it made me feel like I was in a sci-fi movie. And it showed how, for the first time in history, signals relating to the constant ringing noise had been mapped across the brain of a patient undergoing surgery. In plain English, scientists followed tinnitus during an open brain operation and recreated its circuit. And the result was mind-blowing, and not metaphorically speaking, as tinnitus traveled through all brain areas. It extended far beyond the ear and far beyond the hearing specialized part of the brain. Now, here comes the most interesting part. Thanks to this experiment, scientists discovered that tinnitus is a disease of the networks that connect the brain. In other words, that buzz you're hearing is the buzz of the communication lines that have been altered and can't pass the information properly from one brain cell to another. These communication lines we're talking about, they're called synapses in medical terms. And they're the ones that make sure the vital brain signals are strong enough to get from one side of the brain to the other, so that everything functions properly. Let me ask you, do you know that high-pitched screeching sound you sometimes hear over the phone? Or maybe that whooshing that gets you thinking your phone is being tapped? Those sounds really resemble tinnitus, don't they? Well, that's a truly strange coincidence, because any disturbing sound in your head means the brain signals went wrong. And it's a sign that the communication lines are jammed, overheated, or weakened, and need to be fixed fast. Otherwise, one by one, the communication networks break down. The brain cells disconnect, and your brain shuts down completely. The more I read and thought about it, the more I realized the gut-wrenching truth. Your brain is a ticking time bomb, and tinnitus is the emergency alert. Every page I turned sent shivers down my spine. Dementia and so many memory and anxiety disorders started with the failure of synapses, which, simply put, was a failure in brain connectivity. And as I was lying there with all the piles of books, studies, and articles, everything became clear as daylight. I had to do something before it was too late. For me and for all the people tormented by tinnitus. There was no time for sobbing or feeling sorry for myself. I'd done that enough, and nothing good came of it. Plus, I certainly wasn't going to just stand there and see what brain disorder I get. So I began making calls and sending emails to the smartest medical experts at the university. Maybe someone else knew about this. Well, not long after I'd left messages on every single brain doctor, professor, researcher, and alternative medicine expert I knew, I had my breakthrough. One of the most respected brain specialists returned my call. This man, Dr. Stephen Campbell, was a genius. And I'm not just saying that, as he was a real certified genius, member of the famous IQ organization Mensa. His IQ was 159, which is just 1 point below Einstein's IQ. Frankly, I was a little intimidated by him, and also embarrassed, as he was one of the doctors who consulted with me after my suicide attempt to see if I was still fit for work. But I forgot everything when he said, "I know how you can fix your problem. Let's meet." I suggested we meet in the university dining hall, but to my surprise, Stephen said he'd rather have our discussion off the medical campus. His request was a little strange, but I didn't give him much thought. Had he asked me to meet him in the middle of the desert, I would have. So there we were, at a little restaurant outside Stanford, and I was so anxious that I could barely breathe. When Dr. Campbell finally began talking, he did so in a low voice, almost like he was afraid somebody would hear us. And after finding out his startling secret, I understood why. He told me he'd suffered from tinnitus and early memory loss symptoms for years, but that he'd overcome all of it with an ultra-secret protocol that only Mensa members and government officials knew about. You see, Mensa members are the most intelligent people on the planet, coming from all fields, including medicine, army, politics, science, and technology. Brought together, they are the most powerful resource the government has. Now, just think about it. You have the best gray matter on the planet? So, would you want something like tinnitus or memory loss to make it useless? No. You want those powerful brains to be in perfect condition and more. That's why some of the most brilliant minds in medicine and science gathered and, financed by the government, created a special formula meant not only to stop tinnitus, the symptoms of the brain network disease, but also to protect their intelligence from any brain disorder and even increasing their IQ. Why do you think many people get into Mensa in the first place? To have access to this treatment. At least, that's what I've accepted to become a member. He told me this. Every time Dr. Campbell saw a desperate tinnitus case such as mine, he felt guilty. This ultra-secret formula is available for only 3% of the population. Apart from Mensa brains, only members of the government, politicians, big corporation officials, and heads of state knew about it. Hearing all this made my blood boil. No wonder I almost shouted, "Why is this not released? 1 in 10 Americans have tinnitus. Their life is a living hell, and many of them are severely depressed and think about committing suicide." So, Dr. Campbell explained to me very clearly. The tinnitus and memory loss industry controlled by Big Pharma sum up to $25 billion. Not to mention all those fancy supplements that promise to increase your brain power, or all the expensive drugs for headaches. Why would they want one simple, powerful remedy on the market that does what a sack of pharmaceutical products can't? At best, if they'll ever release it for use by the general population, it would be obscenely expensive. Suddenly, I understood everything. Why they're always announcing pills for tinnitus or breakthroughs, but never actually launching them. Why nobody moved a finger at my medical university to search for a remedy for tinnitus, or help me find one, even when I sent them 2 unquestionable studies. By now, you must be very curious and anxious to find out what this ultimate anti-tinnitus secret formula contains. Why all its ingredients are so extremely powerful that not only do they fiercely fight tinnitus, but they also start the repairing and rejuvenation of your brain cells while protecting them against memory disorders. And, most importantly, how does it work and why does it work so incredibly well? Pay careful attention now, because the following information comes from top secret medical research, to which the general public has no access to. Here's a short, step-by-step explanation of each one of the secret ingredients used and how they work. After intensive lab testing, they have proven to be 100% effective only in this formula. Specifically, it's calculated and adjusted to give the best possible results against tinnitus and brain disorders. Step 1. Your hearing begins to clear as the brain networks are getting repaired and the nervous system calms down. So, your tinnitus is driving you crazy and you can't stand it for another moment. Mensa scientists have chosen hibiscus and hawthorn berry as the first aid duo that can lower the sound from the very first days. This happens because this emergency team quickly repairs the buzzing brain networks. Also, hibiscus cools down the entire nervous system, while hawthorn berry wipes out panic attacks. There are 232 species of hibiscus and over 1,000 of hawthorn berries, but only one of each kind can tone down tinnitus so fast. Step 2. You regain your quiet mind while your brain networks are strengthening and becoming indestructible. Olive leaves may take a little longer to kick in, but it's the one ingredient that definitely puts a run to tinnitus while helping your brain networks to become stronger than steel. Not only that, but as shown during multiple lab tests, olive leaves also act like a merciless double guardian. A guardian of the brain, protecting it against potentially fatal problems, and a guardian of the ears, protecting them against infections. Step 3. You feel your memory is stronger than ever while your damaged brain cells are quickly being repaired. Niacin, or B3, is vital for every single part of your body, as it has the incredible power of repairing DNA. Now, because your brain networks were broken, your brain cells didn't connect properly, which resulted in multiple damages, dramatically increasing a risk in loss of memory. But niacin does the impossible by repairing years of brain deterioration. After a 10-day treatment, patients with severe cases of memory loss began regaining their memories and showing significant improvements in their thinking and behavior. Adding garlic powers up your memory and fights off dementia. This is also the phase where you begin to say goodbye to fatigue, sleepless nights, dizziness, and brain fog. Step 4. You feel your brain is supercharged while cell regeneration starts. This is when your mind begins to get superpowers. Vitamins B12, B6, and buchu leaves are like steroids for the brain. As you age, your brain gets smaller, but not with these 3 ingredients as they grow your brain, fire up connections, and help cell rejuvenation. The tinnitus brain that made you a vegetable can become more than 10 years younger, and you'll think faster, better, and clearer. Step 5. Not worrying about tinnitus and brain disorders anymore, because your brain is being trained for a perfect health. Finally, Mensa scientists made sure the formula protects the brain against tinnitus, memory loss, or other debilitating conditions by combining green tea, juniper berry, uva ursi, and vitamin C. While juniper berry and uva ursi clean your brain of toxins, green tea helps to multiply the neural connections, and vitamin C creates a shield against tinnitus, memory loss, and tumors. The old age rules, where your mind and memory start to decline, will be so far from you from this point forward. Another thing that makes the formula unique: all the ingredients had to come from the purest sources and in the most effective forms. Only this way can they enter your brain quickly and get absorbed almost immediately. At first, Dr. Campbell was afraid to share this ultra secret that could effortlessly fight tinnitus in a matter of days. And I could see why. This special formula, to be used only by a selected few, was never meant to be shared with the general public. But since he couldn't bear seeing so many desperate cases of tinnitus sufferers such as myself, well, he knew the easy way out. And since he was ready to retire and leave Mensa behind, Dr. Campbell agreed to do the impossible. He helped me basically steal and recreate the ultra-secret formula developed by Mensa. We both knew how incredibly risky it was, as we could have lost our jobs, freedom, and even our lives. But we did it anyway. After the information had been divulged, we immediately got down to work. We had the formula, we had the medical knowledge, and a night lab all to ourselves. The most difficult part was to gather all the ingredients. You see, the market is full of cheap knockoffs of so-called natural homeopathic ingredients. We know this because after we've carefully tested 97% of the available natural extracts of green tea, vitamin C and B, herbs, berries, and leaves, we found out they were bogus and derived from chemicals and not from natural sources. So we searched the whole world through our scientific connections and contacted only certified producers and verified suppliers, making sure that our recipe we used only top quality ingredients with 100% healing properties. It was very difficult and exhausting. We secretly worked night after night, testing until dawn, making sure that we got the right quantities and the most effective combination of ingredients. And there were times when I was so tired that I even threw up. But in the end, there it was. My hands were shaking as I was finally holding the pills that would end my tinnitus and bring my life and dignity back. In this tiny natural pill was the effective treatment to tinnitus. It would be a miracle, especially because it was so simple. Anyone could take it, regardless of their severity of suffering. It didn't require any costly doctor appointments or trying any other therapies. It protected you from the most frightening brain disorders like amnesia or memory loss. Of course, I was the very first one to try it. After the first pill, I didn't feel a thing. Well, maybe hope, which was still something. I thought I'd lost forever. But the second day, something changed, even though I couldn't tell exactly what. The fifth day, my heart almost stood still, as in just a split second, my tinnitus went from power drill to moderate. Seeing my progress, I gathered a list of 20 people I knew who suffered from various levels of tinnitus and asked them to discreetly test out our anti-tinnitus formula. Every single person accepted immediately, especially because no one needed to leave their house, as we personally delivered them their pills. They each received a weekly report form to follow their progress. I was prepared to wait at least a week for the initial reports to come back. But what happened next was amazing. Even after 3 or 4 days, I was getting calls from everyone in the study claiming their tinnitus was way less intense. They couldn't believe it. And so I encouraged them to stick with taking their pills and continue charting their progress. Being one of the people who suffered the worst from tinnitus, I had doubled up on the daily dose to heighten the experiment. I was even more shocked at how quickly my head and ears started clearing up. On week 2, the horrible ringing was almost unnoticeable, and my depression was quickly lifting. By week 3, all of my tinnitus symptoms had disappeared. Not only that, but my brain fog went away, and I was sleeping through the night without any problems. So even though my tinnitus was gone, I kept taking the pills for another week, just to see what would happen. By week 6, it was like I had a whole brand new brain. My mind was sharp. I could focus easily, and my memory was crystal clear. Also, my old migraines had disappeared completely. And it wasn't just me. When I went to collect the reports from the other subjects in my initial study, the results I saw were astounding. Not a single person reported getting the high-pitched or low-pitched ringing in their ears anymore, or hearing their hearts beat all day. And they also reported a huge reduction in hearing loss too, which was an added bonus, which I hadn't foreseen, and that Dr. Campbell and myself still can't explain. Judging by my own miraculous results, I had anticipated most of these successes. But when I heard that one of the participants in our study had his early onset memory loss diagnosis reversed, I knew I had a mission. I couldn't keep this life-saving treatment all to myself. We decided to produce the supplement and make it available to everybody who's tormented by tinnitus. We call it Sonus Complete. Now that you know the entire story, you're probably asking 2 questions. 1, how can I get my hands on this amazing supplement? And 2, when and in what quantity should I take this supplement? Well, to answer question 1 is a little bit tricky. The truth is that getting the right ingredients to make this powerful anti-tinnitus pill is difficult. As I said, 97% of all the natural ingredients on the market are either fake or filled with pesticides. Also, the people who have already tested our product and regained their long-lost silence keep asking us for more bottles for themselves, for their families and their friends. Or just to stock up in case we won't be able to provide anyone, and to make sure that they will have the power to fight tinnitus for the rest of their lives. Plus, there are folks who don't have tinnitus, but just take the supplements to rejuvenate their brain, emptying our stocks in just a matter of days. Moreover, Sonus Complete is carefully produced only in small batches that take up to 3 months to deliver. This process is essential to assure that the quality of the product is 100% effective. And don't forget about Big Pharma, who are already hunting us like mad for ruining their profits that come from innocent people who are desperate to get a minute of relief. But since you've stuck with me until the very end of my story, in the next few minutes, you'll find out how to get your hands on a brand new bottle of supplements as part of our awareness campaign. As for how you should take Sonus Complete supplement, the answer is easy. Take 2 supplements on a daily basis for at least 30 days. There's no doubt your mind will be quiet in less than 3 weeks. Then, it's up to you how far you want to go. Maybe you want to significantly decrease your risk of memory disorders and feel how your brain is being supercharged and regenerated. in which case you could take it at least 75 days to treat the deterioration caused by the damaged brain networks, which means 3 bottles of Sᴜᴘ Complete. Or, if this is a popular choice among the people who contact us, you want the best chances against memory loss or other brain disorders while treating tinnitus, in which case 6 months or 6 bottles of Sᴜᴘ Complete are all you need. We cannot estimate exactly how damaged your brain networks are at this point. This depends on many factors, such as how old your tinnitus is, your medical history, your overall state of health, and lifestyle choices, etc. So, as a rule of thumb, after seeing the positive results of more than 47,000 people suffering chronic tinnitus, we recommend to take at the very least 3 bottles, 6 bottles or more to be completely safe, for a period of 90 days. This should be enough to completely regenerate your brain, supercharge and protect it against tinnitus and memory disorders. It's a fact, since many people have confirmed the results with such dramatic success. Like Jeremy Seaton, 45, from Pennsylvania. He says, "I've always said I'd cut off at least 3 of my fingers for a magic pill that banishes tinnitus, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. Actually, seeing this pill exists, it feels like a miracle. My head is quieter than ever, and I can't even remember a time my whole body felt this calm. My mind is clear, my brain fog is gone, and it's like I've suddenly got this special brain power. And this is just the 2nd month since I began taking the pills. I'm sharing this with everyone I know, and it's the least I can do." How about Sarah M., 58, from Kentucky? She says, "I didn't believe for a second in what you were saying, Gregory. Just take 2 pills a day and end years of chronic tinnitus and keep your brain safe from memory disorders? Please, go bark up another tree." It was my daughter, the one who insisted I take them. We argued a lot. It's true what they say, children are smarter than their parents. I had ringing in my left ear and a pulsing sensation in my right ear all the time before I started taking this treatment. All gone now. I still can't believe it. It's like a curse has been lifted. I feel blessed and alive." Or Val T., 60, in Detroit. She says, "I was stuck with hearing aids to stifle the sounds. I could barely go through life each day, but after a couple of weeks of this therapy, I threw them away. My husband can't believe I understand everything he says and can even answer questions from another room. My headaches are gone, and even though I always forgot where I put my keys, I don't anymore. I always remember birthdays. Used to fear memory loss. Not anymore. I'm happy my husband began to take these pills too. He doesn't have tinnitus. He takes them for his brain. Everybody should. I'm never giving them up." People are getting their lives and peace of mind back as we speak, using a completely natural and side effect free supplement. And all it takes to get your quiet mind back is 2 pills a day. So, knowing all of this, it's obvious why Sᴜᴘ Complete dominates any other option to successfully treat tinnitus. Nothing else out there has been proven to work. You could go to a doctor who will torture you with tons of useless tests or quickly prescribe you expensive medicine that causes dizziness, stomach problems, and fatigue. Medicine unproven to stop tinnitus because it's not a bacterial infection or virus, but a disease of the networks that connect the brain. Or maybe he'll talk to you into an expensive hearing aid to cover up the constant sound waves exploding in your head, annoying and embarrassing to wear, and good luck getting your insurance to cover the cost. Next, your doctor might try prescribing depression meds and sleeping pills to deafen the depression and anxiety caused by tinnitus, but these methods can't get to the root of the problem. They're just addictive chemicals that turn you into a zombie and prevent you from feeling and experiencing life to the fullest. There are alternative remedies, like fake herbal extracts and acupuncture, even meditation to calm down the extreme stress tinnitus causes, which maybe doesn't hurt, but surely is not strong enough to be the treat-all you've been wishing for. And then there's sound therapy that is barely worth mentioning. All of these are a waste of time, energy, and money, and you know it. They won't get you well in a million years, unlike Sᴜᴘ Complete, that can get the job done in less than 3 weeks while keeping you safe from future brain disorders. You can understand why Dr. Campbell and I initially wanted to set the value for Sᴜᴘ Complete at $99 a bottle. And if you see this from our point of view, I'm sure you can understand why. All the ingredients used are natural, some of them quite rare and hard to obtain. Plus, this special formula is designed for the root cause of tinnitus, which is a life-threatening disease of your brain networks, one that could eventually lead you to severe memory loss and even dementia. Also, add to the cost of seeing a specialist in your area, including the diagnosis he'll have to make you pay for and the drugs he's going to prescribe to you. Well, given all this, $99 a bottle should seem like a total steal. But like I mentioned earlier, Sᴜᴘ Complete is not about making us a profit. Sure, it would be nice to get paid for all our work and efforts, but if we wanted money, we could accept Big Pharma's proposals right now. Close this page and get ourselves a bank account 10 times fatter than a jackpot winner's. But we don't want their filthy money. All we want is to help you and people like you get truly better. That's what my story and mission are meant to do from the start. I wish these miraculous pills existed before I had put a gun to my head and traumatized my entire family for life. But the past can't be changed. And what matters now is that after receiving emails from people who can't afford Sᴜᴘ Complete, we knew we had to find a way so that everyone could afford it. Which is why there's no chance I could consider charging you $99 for this. And because you're watching this presentation, you will benefit from a discount from our awareness campaign. If you act today through this website and make the life-changing decision of investing in this extraordinary anti-tinnitus weapon, Dr. Campbell and I have agreed to give you the only effective treatment that allowed us to finally hit the mute button of tinnitus for only $69 a bottle. But you know what? I'm going to make the deal even sweeter. Because I know how hard it is to live paralyzed by that hellish sound day after day and night after night, I've set up a discounted package system of 6 bottles of Sᴜᴘ Complete for you for only $49 a bottle, for a total of $294, which is being offered today only, for as long as supplies last. You also get free shipping on us. Once we run out of bottles, the Buy Now buttons will not be active anymore until we make another batch, which takes about 2 or 3 months at least. Click the 6-bottle package or any other package that you want below to secure your order. Consider this the smallest but most powerful investment you have ever made for yourself. Yes, 1 bottle of Sᴜᴘ Complete might shut down the ringing, roaring, whooshing, and blood-pumping sounds. 3 bottles might be enough to rapidly restore your mental health, help with the brain cell rejuvenation by 15 years or more while getting you rid of migraines, insomnia, and brain shrinkage. But 6 bottles of Sᴜᴘ Complete could make your brain immune not only to tinnitus, but to memory loss, amnesia, and dementia. Just imagine being independent and free from old age problems. You could turn 102 years old and your mind would still be sharp as a tack. You may be saying, okay, this sounds amazing and I'm interested. How do I get started? Click the yellow button below after choosing the best package for you, and you'll end up on our secure checkout page. Enter your payment details, place the order, and in 7 days from this moment, you'll get Sᴜᴘ Complete delivered to your home. But click now. It's the only way to secure your package while supplies last. You have absolutely nothing to risk because you are also covered by our 60-day, 100% healthy or money-back guarantee. Start taking this groundbreaking supplement. See for yourself how your ringing becomes less and less intense until it eventually vanishes. How your anxiety and panic attacks fade away. And how you're finally surrounded by silence again. Just like our more than 47,000 satisfied customers found out. If you're unsatisfied for any reason, it's rare, but just in case, send us an email in the members area and you'll get a prompt refund, no questions asked, we'll still be friends. You have nothing to risk at all. Like I said, this is a 100% risk-free investment. So, click one of the buttons below to get started on your journey on becoming tinnitus-free. But please, know you really do have to act now. We're offering Sᴜᴘ Complete for just $69 and even cheaper if you're getting our more popular packages, just to get this amazing program into more hands. But we are planning on raising the price back to $99 or possibly much higher in the future. Because here's a weird thing. When I tell people that you can easily fight tinnitus and brain disorders in practically no time and for less than a visit to a specialist, well, most people think it's unbelievable, as if there's something fishy going on. It just sounds too cheap, especially if you have been struggling to cure it with your doctor's prescriptions or with who knows what other methods. Our mission is to spread Sᴜᴘ Complete to as many people as humanly possible. And the big dream is for tinnitus and brain disorders to be a thing of the past. But if people find it hard to believe that you can get such incredible results for less than the cost of a visit to a specialist or a meal with your family at a restaurant, then we'll have to raise the price. Not to mention, we don't know how much longer we'll be able to hide from Big Pharma's threats. But if this website is still up, it means you can still get Sᴜᴘ Complete if you act now. Click to make your choice below, enter your payment details, and place your order now. You'll gain access to Sᴜᴘ Complete, which will arrive at your doorstep in a matter of days. Listen, when you think about it, you really have two choices ahead of you right now. Option 1. Stop following this presentation and leave this page. Do nothing. Keep going the way you are now, with that crucifying sound following you everywhere and risking serious brain conditions. Keep being frustrated that nothing works. Spend hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on useless therapies. Live with your tinnitus for the following months, maybe even years or decades. It's not going to be pleasant. Option 2. Risk nothing at all today. Grab Sᴜᴘ Complete right now, and you'll be surprised at how well it works. So just click below to make your choice, enter your payment details, and place the order now. We'll immediately ship your bottles directly to your home. I hope to hear your success story soon. Still here? That's fine. This presentation covered so much information that you might have some questions. So I'll just take a moment to answer a few questions that are usually asked by clients before choosing Sᴜᴘ Complete. Question 1. How does Sᴜᴘ Complete work? Can you explain it again? Scientists uncovered chronic tinnitus has absolutely nothing to do with your ears, nor is it a bacterial infection or virus. It actually goes much deeper. It's a disease of the networks that connect the brain. Unfortunately, memory loss, dementia, and so many other memory disorders start with the failure of brain networks. To put it simply, your brain is a ticking time bomb, and tinnitus is the emergency alert. Now, the supplement works in the following way. Step 1. Your hearing begins to clear as the brain networks are getting repaired and the nerve systems calm down. The buzzing brain networks are quickly fixed, and the intensity of tinnitus sounds being lowered in the first few days. Step 2. You regain your quiet mind while your brain networks are strengthening and becoming indestructible. Tinnitus is attacked by the incredibly strong brain connections. Step 3. You feel your memory stronger than ever while your damaged brain cells are quickly being repaired, wiping out years of brain deterioration resulting from the broken networks. Step 4. You feel your brain supercharged while cell regeneration begins. The tinnitus brain that made you a vegetable is now being rejuvenated. You think faster, better, clearer. It's like your brain is on steroids. Step 5. Not worrying anymore about tinnitus and brain disorders because your brain is being trained for a perfect health. Your brain is being cleansed of toxins and plaque. Your neural connections are multiplying while a shield against tinnitus and memory loss is being created. Question 2. Can I take Sᴜᴘ Complete even if I have allergies or if I currently use other supplements? We created this amazing anti-tinnitus weapon so that it has no damaging effects on people who have various allergies, as the quantities of the ingredients inside are selected to be below the allergy triggering levels. But we recommend that if you have any known allergies to one of the mentioned pill ingredients, you do not take this supplement. For more details, please check the disclaimer link at the bottom of the page. Question 3. Why haven't I heard of this natural treatment before? Well, as I explained during the presentation, tinnitus and memory loss drug industry is a $25 billion a year industry business. But what the general public is unaware of is that the drug industry literally spends millions and millions of dollars each year to ensure that academic medicine focus only on the drugs that make industry money. and not on the drugs that will actually help people get better. Question 4. Is this program for everyone? Yes, it is safe for people of any age. Sᴜᴘᴘ Complete is non-invasive and risk-free, helping your damaged brain networks to quickly and effortlessly fight tinnitus, giving your mind the relief to achieve anything you want while feeling amazing in the process. This program has also proven to be successful for people with early onset of memory loss. Now, this is not unusual, since Sᴜᴘᴘ Complete was designed to also rejuvenate brain cells. As I told you before, tinnitus is just an emergency alert that announces something's wrong deep inside your brain. Dealing with the root cause of tinnitus means dealing with any existing brain damage. Question 5. What happens once I click on one of the options below? Once you click on one of the options below, you'll go to our 100% secure checkout page. You'll just enter your payment information and place the order. We'll immediately ship your supplement straight to your home. It's that easy. Question 6. How long does it take to really see results? As I've told you, and I'm very proud to repeat this, you'll see the results amazingly fast. As soon as you take one tablet, the battle against tinnitus is half won. In just a few days, your tinnitus will become less and less intense until it will eventually surrender to silence. Question 7. What are the terms of that guarantee that you've mentioned? Because I want you to feel completely confident in your investment today, I'm providing you with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Simply click one of the buttons below and try the program out for yourself for the next 60 days. If you don't get the results I promise within a week, or you're unsatisfied for any reason, simply send an email to us in our members area and we'll give you your money back, no questions asked. It should be clear that if I thought this wasn't going to work, there'd be no way I could make such an offer. But I do know this will work. A total of more than 47,000 people have already proven it. Question 8. How long will this program be available to the public? Well, I'm not really sure. But history has shown that Big Pharma is not afraid to spend millions of dollars in legal fees to remove something that threatens its very existence. If you think about it, that makes sense. Wouldn't you spend $1 million in lawyer costs to protect the $25 billion per year you make? In other words, if you're truly serious about fighting your tinnitus and protecting your brain against memory disorders in the following days, you need to take action immediately. Question 9. How do I get Sᴜᴘᴘ Complete? This one is easy. Simply choose your package by clicking on one of the options below and try out the entire program for yourself for 60 days with absolutely no risk. If you're unhappy for any reason, you'll be promptly given a refund with no questions asked. That being said, I am supremely confident you won't be asking for a refund because this program has been proven to be effective for anyone suffering from tinnitus, even if they've had it for 10 or 20 years. So, click below, fill your payment details, and submit your order. I can't wait to hear your success story.